If you guys are tuning in, this is season 3 of the Needed Podcast. If you guys are new subscribers, my name is Ulysses. I'm a 30-year-old entrepreneur. I have several online businesses. I am a barber at heart, but I have expanded past that. You know, clearly we're here doing this podcast. We're on YouTube. We're also on Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you guys just show your boy some love. I did go through 2 seasons already. The first one was with people close to me, so you guys could get to know me on a more personal level with the people around me. Second season was when we had guests, and I'm excited about this season because I'm going solo, and only because I want to make sure that I include you guys a little bit more. I want to make sure that you guys also get to know me with deeper topics. That way I could actually like elaborate a little bit better. Typically with guests, it's a little difficult because it's usually all about them, and I don't really have a lot of room to be able to like, you know, say my opinion or whatnot. So we're going solo in this season. What I want you guys to do is to basically just give me the topics that you guys want down in the comments. So make sure you guys drop them now. And basically, I'm going to be picking the topic for each week. And then we'll just ask for you guys to just, you know, follow up with a few questions based on that topic. And we're just going to run the episodes. We're pretty much keeping them short and sweet. But we're going to get straight to the point. We're going to answer a lot of questions, inspire, motivate, laugh, and open up about these topics, you know, whether it's relationships, business, you know, your mindset, so on and so forth. So there's a lot to talk about. For those who are tuning back in, just want to say thank you guys for always supporting. And you know, it took me a while to start season 3 because I had certain projects that I was getting done, and thankfully those are up and underway. Now I'm able to actually just focus on, you know, getting weekly episodes out, and I do plan on going back to that original schedule of every Sunday at 7 p.m. and it's gonna be fun, man. I'm really excited. This first video was something that I asked on my Instagram. You know, I was basically just asking what topic people wanted to talk about, and I've even been seeing comments here on YouTube about my hair transplant. So I figured, why not talk about the hair transplant, give you guys a hair update, but also just start season 3 that way. So I'm going to give you guys a little update. I'm in month number 3. I'm going to be posting, you know, pictures throughout this episode. So make sure you guys tune in, because a lot of people are interested in something like this, you know, especially the men. A lot of men, it's not really normal for guys to talk about, you know, let's say something cosmetic like that they're improving about themselves. A lot of people pretend that they're not, you know, insecure about these things, but deep down they are asking questions, how much it is, you know, did it hurt? So guys, you know, feel free to drop a comment if you guys have more questions. I did pick the best 5, which I'll run through in a bit, but for right now I'm just going to give you guys a backstory about my hair. Okay, so in my family, on my mom's side, we genetically have like a receding hairline, so that was bound to happen for me. But I always had a pretty good hairline. I'll show some pictures here of when I was younger. And, you know, as the years went, it just started to recede. And on top of that, I always had this bad habit, guys, where I used to always like pull the very front of my hair when I was little. And I actually had a really bad incident once when I was little where it did actually fall out because I was just pulling it so much. So I don't know if it was like bacteria or just the fact that I was pulling it. It was almost like when, you know how people have like something that they do when they're anxious or nervous, they start biting their nails or scratching their head. Well, I was pulling my hair. So, I mean, I want to say the problem started young because I was doing that. Got over that stage. It never was fully the same though. It was like a little bit lighter. You know, it wasn't as dense as the rest of my hair. And then I continued that habit, I want to say later on, not necessarily in my teenage years, but definitely like as I started getting into the business side of things, I felt like I kind of went back into that bad habit. And that's when I started to see and feel like my hair getting thinner. You know, of course, with more businesses and more responsibility, you start to stress a little bit more. So I was definitely starting to lose hair even in the back here. So I'll show you guys pictures of that as well. And in the procedure, the areas that were covered were the very front here. And you can see right here in the video, like what's dark is where my original hairline was at, and everything that you see coming in is the new hair. But I also started to thin out in the back. So they did, you know, work on that area and also in the front, which we'll talk about later. But I started to notice that, and my hairline was definitely not the way it used to be. So I was kind of limited to the type of hairstyles I could get. I was definitely good at hiding it because, of course, having that barber background and having barbers coming that were, you know, good at what they do, they were able to give me the best hairstyle that would suit me. So I was always able to hide it. And you know, thankfully there is ways to do that, but at the end of the day, I knew deep down I needed some kind of procedure to be able to like bring my hairline back. Or also another option was to just continue to stick to short-term solutions like hair fibers, or you know, some people that would even do like, I mean, some people literally buzz their hair, guys, and put like a toupee. I think some people were asking me if that's what I had, but I always had hair, guys. It was just, you know, I was just good at hiding it because, you know, of my hairstyle. And of course, like I said, those hair fibers, that's what I started to use in the back of my head, which is pretty much just a short-term solution when you are going to go out and you want to just kind of enhance that area so it's not so, you know, bald looking out, you know, so to speak. So I was doing that as of recent. And then finally, this year in June, 3 months ago, I decided to finally go. I finally decided to make the commitment to go. There was different options. You know, I could have went to Turkey. There's, you know, facilities here in the U.S. that do it as well. But my cousins told me about a spot in Mexico, and I will tag the information below. They're called Los Reyes del Injerto, or Reyes del Injerto, something like that. And they have a few offices throughout Mexico. I know that TJ has one, Mazatlan, Sinaloa has one, and then also Culiacan, and I believe Mexico City has one as well. So they have several offices. It just depends what's convenient to you. But, you know, I reached out with a brief consultation on WhatsApp. They were able to tell me that those were good areas to work on. I was a good candidate. I had a lot of hair because what they do is they pull the hair from the sides of your head, pretty much the most dense area, and then they apply that onto the areas that need the donation, right? So, you know, it was a brief consultation. We set up a date, and next thing you know, I was pretty much on my way. And like I said, guys, you know, there was other options. I didn't necessarily have to do it. It's not something that bothered me personally 100%, but, you know, I figured if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it now. You know, I'm 30 years old. Like, you know, if this goes as they say it is, I'm going to have great results. And honestly, I've been super happy so far. You know, I haven't had any complaints. I know that it's something that's going to take some time, but I'm a patient person, so in reality, I'm not even thinking about the end result. I'm just kind of like enjoying what I've been getting because it's already a lot better than it was, trust me. So, you know, back to the whole thing of getting there, right? So we go, make the trip, and it's all something that gets done in one day. So you guys don't have to worry about like being gone for like a month or nothing like that. I did decide to stay in Mexico for a week after the procedure because you do swell up a little bit, but you can actually travel the next day, no problem. But let me walk you guys through the actual process. So when I got there, I was able to, you know, speak to the doctor. I took 2 pills. One of them was for the kind of like an anesthesia, but you don't fall asleep fully. It just kind of relaxes you. And the other one is for the inflammation. Took that. Then they gave me 1 injection pretty much around the butt area, which is also for inflammation. And next thing you know, I laid down. They started to actually work on extracting the hair. But what they do first is they give you multiple shots to the head. They're small needles. Honestly, they're not huge needles. And they don't necessarily hurt on the back. But as you start getting to the front of your head, the more sensitive area, it does start to sting a little bit. But that automatically numbs your head. And what happens is like 1 shot will numb an entire area. So they have to do multiple shots. So pretty much your entire head is numb. And one thing I learned in the experience on the aftercare was that numbing medicine actually lasted quite a while, because for the longest, you know, this very front area, like I almost couldn't really feel it, but you know, no problem, no side effects, nothing like that. They started to extract their hair for a few hours. I think I got in around like 9 a.m. and then by 5 p.m. I was out. So what they do is they extract and then they start implanting the hair in the area that you're going to receive it. So that's kind of how it went. No pain whatsoever, guys. Like, I want to say that that's one of the questions that was going to be asked, but I'll just tell you guys right now, like, it did not hurt whatsoever. Everything was super smooth, very professional. So any of the offices can do that. You guys can feel free to reach out. Like I said, I tagged their information on their Instagram below. So I do recommend you guys to just set a date, so then that way you commit, because a lot of people say they want to do it, but they never necessarily like set up the consultation, let alone the appointment. So it never really gets done. And I did it right in the middle of summer. So another thing that I would recommend you guys to do is to do it around a time of the year in your area that's not so hot, because the sweat and the sun can affect, you know, especially those first few days after surgery. So that's why you got to be very careful in the first 10 days. But other than that, I really had no issue. I guess they do say that, you know, those first couple days are important because the follicles could fall out, but everything heals really, really fast. I am going to post pictures here of, I'm not going to post it before because I don't want to like get anybody worked up, because some people were kind of complaining that they have some kind of phobia about things like this. But this is the after picture, and here you could clearly see that it looks like I still have all my hair on the sides. In the beginning I was thinking like, shoot, that's never going to grow back, but it did, and it looked completely normal, to be honest. Right now I haven't cut my hair as short as I was at one point, because I just been letting it grow out because I want to see like where my hair is at. But you could get haircuts, I want to say maybe like a month in, as long as you don't touch the area where you got the implants. To me, that was fine. So I was cutting myself and it was no problem, and it hasn't affected the growth whatsoever. So once I got out of surgery, I was dealing with a lot of scabs, which is normal, you know, a little bit of bleeding the first day, but all of that went away really quick. You know, fast forward to like 15 days, I felt great. You know, all I saw was scabs, but just automatically, guys, I felt 100% better than I did, you know, before the surgery, because I mean, it was an issue, you know, like if you look at my hairline, it's like a 9-day difference, you know, until you compare side to side. You know, you can't really judge it, because like me, I mean, again, you know, I wasn't really necessarily like super insecure, but I definitely, you know, wouldn't mind an improvement. And right now, after 3 months and seeing that hair finally come in, you know, past the scab stage and past the stage where you shed, because you do have to shed, I want to say after the first month when the scabs go, you know, it looks good, but then you start to shed the hair and then that new hair grows back. So I want to say maybe after like 2.5 months, that's when you really start seeing everything start to come back in, and it's only going to get stronger. They do prescribe you some pills that you can follow up for the next 4 months after surgery, so then that way you just continue to reinforce that follicle and keep it strong and have a faster, better result. It's not necessarily something you have to do, but it is recommended. And they also even offer you to go get free plasmas like once a month, which I haven't done because of making the trip. It was a little difficult for me to go back, considering I have my family and other responsibilities, but that is an option, and I'm sure it does improve. I mean, if I'm already seeing, you know, the results I'm seeing without doing that, I'm sure it was going to be better with it, but you know, all in due time. So pretty much after 3 months, like I told you guys, this is where my hair currently is at. I'm going to show you guys some updated pictures here, and you can see everything is healed. It does have a little bit of like a red shadow, but that will go away with time. It's not because it's like, you know, irritated or some kind of infection there. It's just the way that it looks after you get this type of surgery, but it will go away after a while. But you know, you definitely can see the growth already, and it's just super exciting because like as the days go, it seems like randomly I'll you know, wake up and I just feel like I see a big amount of hair growing in one spot. So it's just kind of weird how it works, but you know, the results in the next year are going to be crazy, because if this is how it looks after 3 months, best believe that eventually I am going to be able to go back to those longer hairstyles. I'm going to be able to have different options, but now I have a full hairline that's always going to be there. So really, really excited about that. Let's get into what you guys wanted to know, because now that I give you guys like a brief background about the entire transplant, now I want to get into what you guys wanted to ask. So the first person asked, how was the healing? So the healing process, like I told you guys, it didn't hurt at all whatsoever. They do give you guys this like thermal spray that you're supposed to spray to keep the area hydrated when you have the scabs, because you don't want it to dry up, because then maybe a follicle could fall out. So basically every 15 minutes for the first like 3 days, you got to spray, you know, the area. And then after that, it becomes 30 minutes, and then every hour, and then, you know, maybe just like a couple times a day. But I did, that helped definitely a lot. And then basically in terms of washing the area, they give you like this cleanser. I believe it's that Cetaphil brand, and it's just a foamer, and that basically serves as like a shampoo, but it disinfects the area, and that always felt really good. I was doing that twice a day, and that would be basically me, you know, using almost like a shampoo on my head. So yeah, like you're not necessarily putting other chemicals in your hair for the first like few weeks, but that will help you with, you know, washing your head. I think people sometimes get confused thinking that they can't shower or something, but I was showering completely normal. I just wasn't letting the shower hit my head because I didn't want like that pressure hitting that area. But you know, as long as you guys take care of your implant, you're gonna be good. I mean, the results are gonna come, but you know, the better you take care of it, the better you're gonna be. Another thing I did want to add was that I did have an incident where I went to Houston, and it was super humid out there in Texas, right? And think about it, like wherever they remove the hair, it's almost like my pores were open. So I had an incident where I broke out so bad with acne because the sweat was coming out of those pores. I mean, I don't know if I was grabbing my head or anything like that, but I just broke out bad for like a good week or two. And then finally, like all of that went away, no problem. I was a little concerned, you know, because I was thinking like, man, is that hair trying to come out, or what's going on there, you know? So I don't know if anybody that's gotten the surgery and is watching this has ever had that. That was just like one thing that alarmed me, but I knew that it was because of that reason. But again, you know, that's why I recommend you guys to go and get this procedure in the colder, you know, time of the year, because you're going to be able to avoid any of that. And I'm the type of person that sweats a lot. So, you know, it didn't really help that I went to do that. And, you know, we got past that. And so far, as far as the healing goes, that's really all I have to say. You know, other than that, it gets better with time once those scabs fall out. And you really don't got to be on top of it like that, like you once were in the beginning. The next big question is, how much did I spend? So pricing varies depending where you go. So in Mexico, I paid for my area. Of course, if you have a bigger area that they're going to work on, I think it's going to be more, but I only paid $2,500, which to me was a great deal. You know, of course, expenses are paid for by myself, but I mean, it's Mexico, so it's really not a lot. I mean, I want to say it's under $4,000 total that I spent. I did stay with family, so I really had no issues on that end. But other than that, you know, it's something that's close by. If you're in California nearby, I think it's a great option. In Turkey, I know that it's around like $5,000, you know, around there. And then in the US, definitely over $10,000 from what I've heard. But I think it also just depends on like how much you need, you know. But again, this is all done through a consultation, so you guys could go ahead and go about that on your own time. But that's roughly around how much you're going to be spending. Next question, is more hair going to grow? Yeah, like I told you guys earlier in the video, more hair is going to grow. In the beginning, there was a lot of follicles. Some of them fell out, but they're going to continue to come back, and, you know, more and more. So total, guys, what typically the way that they do it is that they let you know that you're getting a certain amount of grafts, which is pretty much the amount of hair that you're going to get put on. So around, you know, typically what's common is around like 2,500, maybe 3,000. I got close to 4,500 grafts total. So I'm going to have a lot of hair growing. So I'm really, really excited about that. And like I told you guys, probably by the time we hit 6 months to a year, it's going to be like crazy, the amount of hair, and it's going to continue to, you know, come after that. So just looking forward to it, honestly. Next question, can you get haircuts after it grows? Yes. Like I told you guys with the haircuts, I can't really tell you, you know, yeah or no, because I know some people do, some people don't. I was already cutting myself within the first like 2-3 weeks, but again, I just was not cutting in the area where I got the transplant. It was just around it, and it was fine. I want to say it was a little sensitive on the sides in the first like month or two, but after that, I had no problem. So I say, yeah, you could just, you know, let your barber know that, you know, you had this procedure done and that, you know, you still want to get cleaned up to just avoid those areas, and you'll be fine. The next question, did it hurt? So I briefly explained it. Like I told you guys, I think the most painful thing was probably just the shots closer to the front of the head. They did sting a little bit more, but that's just like seconds that you're dealing with that. Other than that, the process itself didn't hurt whatsoever, even though it looks super painful. Like I know people, like I said, get a phobia. The procedure didn't hurt whatsoever, and the aftermath, you know, I was getting like maybe some migraines, you know, after the first couple of days, but that's normal because, you know, they were working, you know, in that area. But other than that, I didn't deal with any type of pain, thank God. So nothing to worry about there. I think a lot of guys are scared. You know, a lot of guys are scared when we talk about any kind of surgery. I think I've noticed, like, you know, guys asking a lot of questions about it, but, you know, they're not really down to go through something like this because sometimes they think they're going to go under the needle or be asleep. But like I told you guys, you don't even get put to sleep in this procedure. It's super relaxing, very straightforward. So I definitely recommend you guys to do it. And this is not even a paid sponsorship or nothing like that. I'm just pushing you guys to go out there and invest a little bit into yourselves, because at the end of the day, you know, nobody's going to really look out for us men. You know, it's something that you got to do on your own. And, you know, if it's what's going to make you feel good, go and do it. You know, my wife supported me 100% and she was excited. You know, my kids, it's funny because they kind of knew that I was going, and I remember the day I made the appointment, I think my daughter told me like I was going bald, so I was like, all right, I think it's time to go do this. But, you know, thankfully now they see it coming back, they tell me, so it's always funny to hear their feedback. But hopefully I answered every question that you guys had about my hair transplant. I'm really just excited to be back podcasting with you guys, you know, the people that support me. I am going to be more active in the comments here on YouTube. And also I believe that if you're subscribed, I can basically do a post here on YouTube and you guys could just, you know, chat with me. So make sure that you guys insert the next couple of topics that you guys want me to talk about. This one was about me and my hair transplant, but it was something that a lot of you guys wanted. So I'm excited to roll this one out for the first episode, but I'm trying to upload every single week like we were doing in season 1 at 7 p.m. Pacific time. I will catch you guys in the next episode. Like, comment, share, and if you guys have more questions about the transplant, go ahead and drop them below. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.